Most people think setting goals is the first step to success. You choose what you want, you write it down, and you push toward it with discipline and effort. That is the formula we were all taught. Write the vision, be specific, create a deadline, stay motivated, never quit. It is the philosophy of generations. But vibrationally, something entirely different is happening. The moment you experience contrast, the moment life shows you something you do not want, you automatically launch a new desire. You do not need a notebook for that. You do not need a vision board for that. You do not need a 12-step morning routine for that. Your desire is born the instant you feel the gap between where you are and what you want. The asking is done in that moment. Step 1 is complete. Every single process after that point is supposed to help you allow what you have already asked for. And this is where most people struggle. You think goal setting is what brings a desire into form. You think visualizing and affirming are about convincing the universe to give them something. But the asking already happened. The universe already became it. The energy already gathered. The question is not whether your goal is set. The question is whether you are letting yourself receive what you already created vibrationally. This is why people feel confused when they try to merge old-school success teachings with vibrational ones. Traditional goal setting focuses on action, timelines, discipline, and pushing. The vibrational world is about alignment, ease, relief, and letting go of resistance. When you try to mix the two without understanding how they work, you end up efforting yourself into frustration. Because when you sit down to write an affirmation, if you are doing it from the emotional place of noticing that your desire still has not manifested, the affirmation works against you. It amplifies the absence of what you want, keeps you in the vibration of not having it. You can repeat a sentence 1,000 times, but if every repetition emotionally reminds you that you are still waiting, all you are doing is practicing the vibration of lack. This is why so many people who work very hard on themselves feel stuck. They are doing all the right things from all the wrong emotions. They are trying, pushing, efforting, desperately hoping that this time the affirmation or the script or the journaling session will unlock something. But all of that trying is just a louder version of the same vibration. I don't have it yet. I need it to come. I am not there. I am missing something. The universe does not respond to your words. It responds to your vibration. It responds to the emotional signal underneath the words. You cannot positively speak your way out of a negative vibrational state. And you cannot push your way into allowing. This is why Abraham says that a lot of people simply try too hard. When you are working so intensely to get something, the intensity is often born from the fear that it will not come. And that energy slows everything down. The more you stare at the gap, the wider it feels. This is why timelines backfire for so many people. You write a date in your journal. You decide it has to happen by next month or next week or by the end of the year. And at first it feels exciting. But as the days pass and nothing shifts, that date becomes a countdown to disappointment. Every sunset reminds you that it is not here yet. The timeline was meant to inspire you, but instead it pulls you into anxiety and pressure. Not because goals are bad, but because the way most people emotionally hold their goals contradicts the vibration of receiving them. There is a rhythm to allowing. It is soft. It is spacious. It is hopeful. When you speak a desire from that place, you feel open and uplifted. When you speak a desire from fear or urgency, you feel tight and tense. Your emotional guidance is telling you exactly which direction you are going. The real art is not demanding the manifestation. The real art is soothing the part of you that is afraid it will not come. When you quiet the fear, allowing happens naturally. When you soften the effort, you finally create the emotional space for the solution to appear. This is why Abraham says to let your goals be general. Specifics can activate resistance if you are not ready for them vibrationally. Being too precise too early can highlight the distance between where you are and where you want to be. But a general statement like next year will be a more prosperous year for me carries a softness that your nervous system can relax into. It does not trigger panic or urgency. It does not demand. It invites. If you feel desperate, being specific will amplify the desperation. If you feel hopeful, being general will stabilize that hope. The emotional state matters more than the words. The universe responds to the feeling you emit, not the sentence you write. This is why the question is never, how do I get what I want? The question is, how do I feel better right now? Because feeling better right now is what closes the gap between you and what you have already created vibrationally. Feeling better right now is what aligns you with the version of you that already has it. Feeling better right now is the gateway to every outcome you want. Allowing is an emotional game, not an action game. Every time you reach for a thought that feels slightly more relieving, you move closer to your desire. Every time you find something that is working in your life and you focus on it for a moment, you shift your vibration. Every time you let yourself off the hook and stop pushing so hard, you release resistance. Allowing is not passive. It is powerful.
Ow.
It is the energy that lets everything you have asked for come into your physical reality. You could have 10 desires. 9 of them might not be moving yet. 1 might be barely unfolding. If you give your attention to the one thing that is sort of working, if you let yourself build momentum around the evidence that things are improving, you shift your entire vibrational field. The other 9 desires are not stuck. You're just focused on what is wrong with them instead of what is right with the direction you are heading. You slow everything down when you obsess about the pieces that are not here yet. But you speed everything up when you anchor yourself in the parts that are already flowing. This is why Abraham says your only real goal should be to feel better than you do right now. Not to manifest the money by Friday. Not to force the opportunity to appear. It's not to make the universe hurry. But to deliberately bring yourself into the emotional neighborhood of appreciation and ease. To let yourself reach for hope. To lean in the direction of optimism. To find thoughts that feel like relief. In that emotional state, you are allowing. In that emotional state, you are aligned. In that emotional state, you are no longer getting in the way of the very things you have already asked for. And when you consistently reach for that, the manifestations that once felt impossible begin to line up in ways that look effortless. You begin to love the feeling of tuning yourself, begin to appreciate the guidance system within you. You start noticing the smallest signs of improvement and celebrating them instead of dismissing them. You shift from controlling outcomes to allowing outcomes. You stop micromanaging the universe and let it surprise you. And that is when the momentum of well-being becomes undeniable. That is when everything you have been waiting for starts flowing toward you with clarity and speed. That is when you feel connected again. That is when the universe feels alive around you. That is when your inner being feels close enough to touch. This is alignment. This is allowing. This is the emotional foundation behind every desire you have ever launched.
Ow.
And it all begins with one simple choice. Let's feel a little better right now.